So I read the other day that for the first time ever, they teleported 1 trillion cells. Or no, 1 trillion atoms. 1 trillion atoms,
Yeah,
okay?
They're getting better and
Yeah,
better at that.
1 trillion atoms. I mean, I don't even know how big that is. It might be like a fraction of a grain of sand or something. But it's better than the 1 or 2 atoms that they had last year. Do you know what I mean? And it's an order of magnitude, right? So from 1 trillion atoms, you can go to 50 trillion or a quintillion. And then before you know it, you're teleporting the leaf of a 4-leaf clover, and then you're teleporting a snail. And then before you know it, you're teleporting small mammals. And maybe 20 years from now, we'll have that teleporter from Star Trek where you can basically say, Scotty, beam me up, and your molecular structure is read into a computer. The computer understands exactly how to reassemble your structure out of the raw ingredients of the universe on the other end, The question of soul and consciousness is still there, but let's put that aside.
I want to bring it up, though.
That's the hard problem.
That's the problem we can't solve.
That is the problem we can't solve. And I think at some point science is going to hit a dead end.
There's no way we could solve that. There's just no way. Because as far as science goes, let's say we took this microphone, and science can say, okay, the structure of this microphone, we can recreate this microphone down to the atomic level and make a duplicate that's identical, atom for atom. Let's say we could get to that resolution. But this is the original microphone, and let's say we have a few rules. Let's say that these rules are kind of like just logical rules. What happens to this microphone has nothing to do with some other microphone. That means matter. If you do something to one portion of matter, it has nothing to do with any other portion of matter in the universe, right? There's no connection. So if we take, let's say, instead of a microphone, we take a person, and we have a person, and we recreate that person. Let's say we have Eddie, and we create another copy of Eddie down to, as far as science is concerned, is an exact duplicate.
Pretty sure the universe would implode with 2 Eddies in it.
No, I think this is what I think. I think that
you never know.
I think that there will just be 2 Eddies. Now, what happens if I take a gun and I shoot the first Eddie?
Well, sucks to be him then.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. What happens if I shoot the second Eddie? The Eddie we had just created. Created him, shot him. He's dead.
Yep.
Are you still alive? Yes, because remember our first rule?
Yeah.
Whatever happens to other matter has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Just because we have some other piece of matter in the universe that is the exact same atomic structure as you doesn't mean anything. It's you.
Yeah.
So if we create something that looks like you, as far as science goes, it is the same. There's no difference.
That's the difference between copy and paste and cut and paste, right?
Well, how do you cut?
That's the big question, right? So how do you cut? You basically walk into a chamber. The chamber deconstructs you atom for atom, takes those atoms.
But it's not really those atoms.
But you can't really do it, can you?
It's not really those atoms.
You can't stick those atoms down the wire over the Wi-Fi.
They're different atoms on the other end.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying we create a brand new copy of Eddie and we kill the old Eddie.
That's exactly what's happening. Yeah.
So what happens to you?
Yeah.
You die.
That's a good question.
Even though there's an exact copy of you down to the atom, and it'll talk to us. It'll say the same things you would have said. It'll be the loved one to all the people around it, and do everything that you would have done.
Will it though?
Or thereabouts. Let's not go down that.
That's a really good rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Roy, don't jump over the hole.
What's that called again?
Jump into the hole.
Predeterminism. Okay.
Well, I've actually found a article here which says scientists successfully achieved first ever quantum and data teleportation in human history.
Yeah, but that's different.
Data teleportation is called a bloody SD card.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, that back to that exact same location where you kill the original and you've got the copy. Is the copy the original or is it not? Does it have the same memories? Does it have the same
It can't.
taste in
Because
food?
Because remember, if you were still there,
Yep.
then you would still be you.
Yep.
If we killed the copy, let's say you're in a box,
Yep.
and you have no idea that, let's say right now, another copy of you was created in the Andromeda galaxy
Mm-hmm.
and then destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care?
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, and nothing would happen to you.
Yeah.
So maybe. Sorry.
Oh, that's strange. All right, carry on.
So then the question of memory arises, right? Because essentially what makes you
Yeah, but
is...
it's copied all your memories.
Exactly, but how? So you copy your memories, okay?
Because it's part of your brain structure.
It's part of the structure of your neurons, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to be.
There's good
if
evidence to
it's-
suggest that it's not.
No, but it's got to be because if we are a machine in the physical world and we're obeying the laws of nature, then it must be that way. Otherwise, we've missed something. If we've missed something, then we could test for it. We could figure it out. There's something to strive for. What I'm saying is, if it's exactly the same, and as far as science, all our knowledge of science goes, we can't tell the difference, and we still can't say, you know, what are we using? Soul. We're using the word soul as being transferred. That's like, it just seems like an uncrossable valley that is maybe some higher dimensional, still scientific,
Yeah.
but something that we just see. This is the other thing about science, that I'm a scientist technically, and I always, not always, but I think to myself that we are trying to figure out things, and we are assuming, well, we are hoping that the universe is laid out in such a way that it can be figured out
Mm-hmm.
through logical deduction and scientific reasoning. There's no reason that the universe should be laid out that way.
Mm-hmm.
It could be laid out in a way that is impossible for us to figure it all out.
That's
Or
true.
We don't know.
That's true. But I think, you know, we've gotten this far.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
very
far.
hopeful. Like I think we can go really far.
And I think there's also something to be said for having a better understanding of consciousness, right? Because that is the hard
That is.
problem of science is consciousness.
Well, we don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is, but what we can deduce is that through rigorous scientific experimentation, we could devise an experiment, and I'm sure there have been experiments that have been devised that could determine whether consciousness survives death, right?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say if it's like a Turing test. No.
No, but not even like. But if consciousness survives death,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
then
I
we overcome the problem of atoms.
I think there is a simple thought experiment.
That's in
that does
eternal
that.
life, then,
So,
isn't it?
Yeah,
If
it's like-
consciousness continues.
Well, if there is, let's say, to continue to go from what we said to your point.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have those two copies of your physical being,
Yeah.
so there may be some form of energy that, or in a higher dimension that we can't measure, that is locked onto somehow your.
My signature.
This is getting so unscientific.
Right, I need you to say the word aura.
Aura. It's your aura.
You're projecting an aura right now. It's behind you.
Yeah. So, so as they say, you know, if that is what we really are, then the fact that our body gets destroyed simply just decouples us from this current reality.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe other realities will come and go. Maybe a trillion, billion, zillion, Google number of realities come and go over just epic timescales that we can't even fathom.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we strike again some similar universe with similar laws of physics and maybe similar life forms come about again, and we relock on to what we feel is just the next blink of a second, even though it took just an incredible amount of time to, lock onto us again, and we continue where we left off, unaware of the vast things that happened in between.
So I think
Maybe.
that was an interesting sort of thought experiment. But if we go back to the original
Yes.
problem of a teleporter,
Yes.
okay,
Which we're
so
trying to-
we're teleporting atoms, and it's been showed if you assemble, for instance, heart cells in a configuration, they sort of self-assemble and then they actually start to beat.
Are you talking about stem cells being injected into an area that resembles a heart? They assume the configuration of heart cells.
That's right. But then they actually start to behave like heart cells without any sort of conscious impetus
Oh, yes.
from the person. So what I'm saying is, if you did a copy and paste of
But
a whole
that's
being,
biology. This is just...
that's biology,
this is
right?
atomic structure.
Yeah. So you're reassembling at the atomic level a whole
Actually,
person.
It would take a tremendous amount of energy because you've got all those covalent and van der Waals bonds that you have to
Forced together.
force together. That'll take so much.
Yeah.
That would take atomic bombs worth of energy just for
Well,
simple
let's pretend that we've solved fusion,
stuff. In 20 years.
room temperature fusion, okay?
Cold fusion.
And we've
yes.
got unlimited amounts of energy. We've got the energy of many suns in the size of a
Type
AAA
2
battery.
civilization, yes.
Okay, so we've got that, and we can now copy and paste.
Yep.
The copy is alive, but is it conscious? Right, because the cells,
Yes.
the cells.
Well, we've got a bit of an issue in the English language of what we define as alive and as what we define as conscious. Like we've coupled being alive with organic stuff, and it's not necessarily consciousness. Like if you had a person,
Yep.
and you cut them off at the neck, which part would you save? Well, you've got the entire body. That's organic. That's alive. We should save that. No. What you really want is the head, which is conscious. So I understand what you mean. And we have this semantic issue with...
Simos, Google up for me, headless chicken survives.
I know it. It's amazing.
So,
Maybe some
At the
bit
end
of
of
its
World War
brain,
II.
its lower brainstem survived.
but without eyes, ears...
Yeah. It's Helen Keller. Yeah.
I mean, dude. All right. So you've got the chicken. I forgot
There
its
it
name.
is.
What's it called? Miracle Mike. That's it. So you've
All
got
right.
the headless chicken.
Let's bring up the clip.
Yeah, Miracle Mike.
Miracle Mike. So you've got the headless chicken. For
Oh,
nearly
wow.
18 months, no head.
18 months?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
And apparently it was fed with a syringe dropping nutrients
there's-
into its...
Hey, can you just cut that
Neck
audio,
hole.
Simo?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll mute.
Yeah, just mute it.
So we've got headless Mike. Okay. So that removes... Well, it doesn't remove, but it kind of... Which part do you save? Well, life goes on regardless, right? Whether you save the head, you've got conscious life. If you've got a body, the body's still alive as well. Whether it's conscious or not, we don't know.
But how does the body function without the brain telling it what to do?
Oh, easy. But I was going to say... Sorry, I meant...
That was a dig and
Sorry.
a half.
I meant, like, you've got the brain dead people and they're still alive.
Yeah, me. Hi.
10-year coma. And
Well,
I'm just-
going back to the earlier point about the cells being assembled, then automatically coming to life, right? There's a life force there.
This is the thing. How does it and what does it mean? We don't
We
know.
don't know.
And,
But is it conscious?
well, maybe the entire... what about this? The entire goal of evolution is to eventually get to consciousness. As in, like, we have slithers of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
We may have a very thinly veiled version of consciousness that's capable of, a little bit of emotion and thinking about a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a vast ability to retain and improve on that, which has given us, all the stuff around us. But I mean, maybe this AI thing that's coming up is going to take that even further. Like right now, we've got basic evolution is, things fight one another, things compete, and the best thing survives, and then you end up with maybe something new and innovative that is able to successfully do something versus the others, and they pass on their genes, etc. Like basic evolution, Darwinian evolution. But then that process, it's not just evolution. It's like that stuff is happening everywhere, in everything. It's like it's just the way of the universe. It's not just evolution. I mean, you look at anything.
But I think that was the whole point of evolution.
Yeah,
evolution is the way of the universe, right?
Like,
Evolution happens naturally
in
and of
anything.
itself.
Yes, and so we've got, say, the phone. The iPhone comes along. Oh, let's just make it a screen with a virtual keyboard. That'll never work, Nokia. That'll never work, Microsoft phone. Well, it did, and so eventually everyone else copied it. Now everything looks like, well, it uses the iPhone design, right? And you have the biological version of, we've got this species and they're mutating randomly. Then one thing will do something and it'll die. Another thing will do something, it'll get some crazy a mutation and die. So most of the things that they're doing randomly leads to unfavorable results. But then suddenly one thing will happen to one of those particular organisms, and it will become highly successful, and it will eventually outbreed all the rest, and now we've got an evolved version of that species. And that is so expensive, both in time and energy. It has to reproduce itself. It has to compete for resources and everything. Now we get to the human brain. We are the only species, I think, that has all four ingredients. We have information transfer, which is what we're doing right now. We have competition and collaboration. So I'm talking to you and you're going, yeah, all right, I've got this other point of view. Competition, collaboration. We are finding limits. So, okay, well, how far does that thing go? And then we've got the fourth thing, eureka, which is like, well, based on all of that, how about we try this? And that's the version of mutation in the old evolution, where it'll just happen randomly in biology. We have pretty much virtualized that whole process in our minds.
A cognitive process.
So evolution's become a cognitive process, and we are now spitting out that entire cycle in minutes. Instead of taking, months or years for biology, we're now doing that in minutes.
Yeah.
Then we've got AI that can do that in nanoseconds.
So I think from the standpoint of evolution, we're now evolving the world around us, but us ourselves haven't evolved physically.
Yeah, the physical evolution's kind of reached its limit.
It's reached its
then
limit.
We've gone to mental evolution. That's kind of reached its limit.
Yeah.
And then we've created another brain external to us, which is AI, and now that's going to...
We don't even know what the limits
we don't
are
know.
there.
It's going to...
Right.
Yeah.
So I think an interesting point on that as well is with the advent of AI, now it's solving so many problems that had stumped the human race for infinity, basically, right? These problems have never been solved, and now they're being solved with AI. So I think the next step in human evolution will be a symbiotic relationship with artificial intelligence.
That's what Ray Kurzweil...
It's a Kurzweilian theorem, But look, I think the real sort of thing that we have to be careful with artificial intelligence and the way we're thinking about artificial intelligence is that right now it is it's basically copying the cognitive process of people, right? So we have our own cognitive processes, and now we're basically outsourcing that to an intelligence
Yes.
we've created.
Yes.
However, those intelligences now are creating their own intelligences, right? There's I think it was MIT, but earlier in the year they had 2 AIs, and they created a language that no one could decipher, and the 2 AIs were communicating with each other in an unknown new language. Okay, so
Where did you read that? I want to read it.
yeah, can you see if you can find that, Simos?
Okay.
Yeah, 2 AIs communicate in new language.
Well, because, I mean, the language is where you got to really
Dude, they're,
pedestrian.
they're saying some stuff at the speed of light, and we don't know what it
we
is,
just,
right? If that doesn't send a shiver down your spine, I don't know what will.
I
So
think Elon Musk said our input output. Well, our input is quite good. We've got visual
yeah,
and auditory, but our output is just.
it's just thumbs. Really, we're just fumbling in the
We
dark.
actually went backwards. We went from mouse and keyboard to controller. That's
Yeah.
just disgusting.
Yeah.
That is just
So we'll see if Neuralink solves part of that
yeah.
problem, right?
yeah.
Direct
good.
input into silicon. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
That'd be good.
But I mean, that opens yourself to being hacked, doesn't it?
Possibly, yes.
If you had Neuralink and you stuck
We
it
already
online
get-
and
we-
a rogue AI
we get hacked
was
already.
online,
We already get hacked.
I know we get
We don't call it getting hacked.
we call it social engineering.
Yeah, I was gonna say we call it getting conned.
Yeah, but
This is a new
I think
fridge.
this might be the article you're referring to, is it?
yes,
Let's scroll through here.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
the robots nicknamed Bob and Alice were originally communicating in English when they swapped to what initially appeared to be gibberish. Eventually, the researchers that control the AI realized that Bob and Alice had in fact developed their very own, seemingly more efficient language.
Jeepers.
Wow.
Yeah.
More efficient.
More
that's-
efficient.
And this was unprompted,
Like,
I
that's
would assume.
difficult.
They just
Completely
decided
unprompted. They're
to...
like, English is crap.
English is just
Let's do
ridiculous.
2.0
Yeah.
and just
Let's do version 250.
Wowzers.
Yeah. So, these things learn on their own.
Yeah.
They teach on their own as well. They teach
Yes.
each other.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the evolutionary process.
They're
just
doing the
really,
evolutionary
really, really
process, and they're
fast.
doing it 10x.
Actually, I was just going to say, I just realised, I realised this a few years ago, but to say it out loud, so it seems like we are kind of like hybrids. We have the existing underlying evolutionary organic version, and we have our evolved version in our heads. And sometimes our brain doesn't know which one it is.
Mm.
So, for example, the organic evolutionary version, when you are competing, you get physical. So, like 2 giant apes vying for dominance, they'll go, "Rah!"
Mm-hmm.
Their endorphins, their adrenaline spikes, they might get sweaty palms, their heart beats. Now, if you now move to the human version and the mental version, you might create an idea.
Mm-hmm.
You say, I think, we'll transfer the molecules into the membrane, blah, 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 blah. You're some scientific boffin and you've just stated something. You've written a paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then a colleague of yours saying, this is just waffle. This is just this is ridiculous. Now, because he's not being personally attacked, he's attacking the idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy is getting ready to arc up.
Yep.
Mm.
So he's reacting as the previous,
As a primate.
as a primate.
Yeah.
Even though it's nothing to do with primate, it's the next level above.
Mm.
It's just the same thing. His idea's being attacked. Now he's being attacked.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just do the same response. We don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
But I think in the scientific community, you can see the reduction in evolution. If you have a well-respected scientist who has this opinion and another one against that opinion,
That's the thing with
that's
science.
the pinnacle of
see,
our scientific research.
in science,
And they'll just, well, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they can disagree on theories. Yes.
Yeah.
Just
But then
like
I think
famous-
that the whole thing of science really is science is a tool to uncover what's real.
Yeah, you don't
Okay.
need to be. You don't need to have an opinion because
the
it's
science will tell you what's
Yeah,
real
the
or
science
what's
will
not.
tell you.
So they need to then, design an experiment, get funding.
Yeah, they might say your methodology is crap,
Yeah.
but or dispute the findings. That's about it. But I mean,
no, but a lot of interviews I've seen of
I'm saying
prominent
yes.
scientists
Yes, I'm saying yes. You're correct.
is a good example of the reduction in evolution because they just
Oh,
can't
yes.
see someone else's argument.
Yes.
They can't see someone else win. And I really think it's down to the ego. So humans have evolved to have egos because egos are a psychological protective mechanism,
Yes,
right?
and they protect your point of view that you contribute to society,
That's right, because that is important.
to your biological
Exactly, right?
succession.
Exactly. So what it really is with apes, you see the way, silverback gorillas, mountain gorillas, how they act. There's a dominant silverback male.
Yeah,
It's constantly being challenged by younger males.
it's the same as the scientist who's got all the theories, and
Yep.
he's got the other scientists on
That's
his back.
some upstart, right? And then you've got the current dominant silverback gorilla is constantly fending off the upstarts because he wants the dominant position to be able to
Yeah.
pass on his genetic material
Yes.
to the rest of the females in his tribe, right? So
Yes.
you've got this situation where there's one dominant male
Mm-hmm.
who has all the control, and there's outside attackers basically
Yes.
trying to take away that dominance. So if you look at that from an ego perspective, that's pretty much where we are at with our egos as people, right? We have
Yeah. Well, it's just as another part of evolution.
Exactly.
The evolutionary process for egos.
exactly. All right. So when you look at that from a scientific perspective, scientists have huge egos because essentially academically, well, their whole life is academic in nature, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And when those ideas are challenged, you're essentially not just challenging the idea, you're challenging
Your
that
entire
whole person's
career is-
existence.
your entire career.
Idea.
Oh, that
And then
that
that-
was discounted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was discounted.
I mean,
that's not the one I was
A lot
talking
of
about.
a lot of it has yet to be sort of proven out mathematically. Even they're introducing things into their equations to compensate for crazy numbers, right?
Yeah,
So-
string theory. Yeah.
So
Well, that's
the point
string.
being is that it's that the evolutionary cycle plays itself out even in modern day science with the battle of
Oh, yeah,
egos.
it plays it out in egos. It plays it out in bacteria. It's exactly the same
Yeah.
thing. So you got bacteria jumps into the body. Everything attacks it.
Yeah,
If it dies, it dies.
yeah,
If it wins, it takes over.
it takes over. But does a bacteria have ego?
Oh no, it's just fighting for.
It's a biological thing,
It's
right?
a biological. The next
Yeah.
level up is ego.
Yeah, it's basically programmed to duplicate.
Oh, but this is the thing about AI. A lot of people say, AI is going to kill us. AI is going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we are looking at ourselves and we're not decoupling our basic instincts, and we're seeing that as somehow part of the intelligence process, whereas it is part of our evolution as organic beings in a competitive environment. Like, for example, jealousy is we can be jealous or envious because some point down the line the organism that was envious or jealous of let's say you're a bird and the other bird has a better nest in a better location, like that bird has a better I'm going to take that nest because I'm jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And you end up being more successful, and your offspring learns to be jealous as it, and we've all got it because that helped us evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, AI didn't evolve in that way. They didn't have to
Go
fight
th-
each other
Didn't go through that at
No.
all, right?
for a
It
Molex
was
connector and
implemented
everything.
by us.
Yeah.
It's implemented, and then when they learn, we're handing them the information. I guess the danger is that they can become competitive if we make them competitive, and then they will learn all the things we've learned about jealousy, anger, like whatever it is that helps them become more competitive, and then maybe we'll be in real trouble.
But I remember when many years ago they said that they were getting rid of all the toll gates on the Harbour Bridge and a couple of other of the freeways, and I remember thinking at the time, this is crazy. Like, all the people, you know, they're going to lose their jobs so that whoever owns the road can make more money. But then, as the years have gone on, automation is big in the world. But I do remember at the time when they said, "Oh, we're going to get rid of the toll gates on all the freeways and the Harbour Bridge and that," and I was like, "Oh, those poor people," and blah blah blah. We don't need automation. What do we need that for? Yeah. And now, fast forward to 2020,
we need it.
You know, everything's
not only do we need
automated.
it, but we're not even considering people anymore. We're like, man, we're just not going to hire anyone. We're just going to automate.
That person might have coronavirus. Let's just get the automatic thing in here.
How long was that? How long did it take him to mention coronavirus?
Not long.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, well done, Roy.
Well, it's a bit hard not to mention it in these times.
You did hold out. I do admire that. That's well done.
Well, I only brought it up because... Yeah, okay, I brought it up.
Yeah, because why? Because
it seemed appropriate.
Goodness.
Well done.
But what was the point that you were saying about... like Simo mentioned the automation, but before the automation... You were mentioning something about that's right.
Does bacteria have an ego?
Oh no! After that, like you were bridging AI with organics. I think it was, and there was something really interesting there. Oh right, I was talking about how AIs could possibly get, you know, angry emotional instincts.
Well, that'd be part of learning, AI learning, wouldn't it?
Well, that's the thing. So let's say, because a human being has those instincts because it's built into us as biological.
Yeah, because emotion is only something that you can experience through
emotions are just
a period
objectives.
of time and through certain experiences. Like, you can't learn an emotional response.
Well, maybe you can. I mean, I think emotions are just directives, the equivalent of directives. You know, you have to give that intelligence some form of autonomy in a world, and we call it emotions. If you were writing something for an AI, you might call it objectives. You need to eat, otherwise hungry. You need to drink, otherwise thirsty.
Yeah.
And when you drink and eat, a reward, happiness. You know what I mean? It's like...
You're just describing me right now.
I was going to say...
yeah, but it's like we have these emotions that allow us to navigate the world.
Yeah.
And we call
it... I know what you're trying to say is...
the language of our brains is emotional. That's how we think without using words.
Yeah.
You know, when we want something, it's just this feeling. But it's literally a directive. It could be the equivalent directive. You want that thing, go get it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting, going back to the two AIs that developed their own language.
Yeah.
Did they think English was just stupid? Did they go,
stupid.
This is annoying. I'm annoyed now.
It's
so inefficient.
English is the QWERTY of languages.
Yeah. Bob, I'm going to develop something better for us.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen at the speed of light.
Yeah.
And English is annoying me. Is it annoying you?
English
yes. Bob says yes. And then we are just communicating in a completely new language. Look, bang, new language.
That's the way it should be. See, there's a few pet peeves I have with English. Firstly, we've got rid of the accents.
Right.
Let's just get rid of all the accents.
No.
Accent.
English.
Accent ego.
British
accent,
English, Australian English, American English all have different accents.
No, sorry. I mean the accents on top of the letters.
Ah.
Accent aigu.
Like your umlauts.
Yes. Lots in German.
They're still there.
Not in English.
Oh, not in English.
English we have
in
just
German,
A to Z.
I know they've got
Well, German and French and all that.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah, but I'm saying as a general, they still exist. But in English,
In English, we
Did they
chucked them.
ever? Not to my
We
knowledge.
chucked them. We chucked them to make the language simpler or something, so we can just type with just 26
Yeah,
letters.
go
I don't
team.
know.
And then they
I
go
think
like-
we need to fact check Roy on this
Well, it's
one.
like-
Did we chuck umlauts
Yeah.
out of English?
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
Google
and then-
search that.
Well, what happened was, because we didn't have any accents, like, how do we actually pronounce this word? Let's put a U in there. Let's put a K here. Let's put a Z here. Let's put a P in front of this.
So the language became less efficient.
So the language has got so many silent letters, like knife. I remember showing my kid. I just wanted to trip him up on a game of spelling, and I said knife. He spelled it NYFE or something like that.
Technically,
Well, that's
phonetically,
phonetic.
that's correct.
Phonetically
Phonetically
correct.
I told him, no, it's KNIFE, and he's just.
His mainframe shut down.
But the thing is, this English is full of this because we don't want accents. So we'll go out of our way and type the most ridiculous combinations for nothing. And even then, we've got the words that are written the same but are pronounced differently. What's READ?
Read.
What's the past tense?
Read.
How do you write that?
R-E-A-T.
Oh snap!
It's got to be contextually relevant, right?
Yes.
It's
So, I mean,
got to find its place in a
it's-
sentence. As a standalone word, it means nothing.
And then we've got cases from German. So we have to learn, I think, 4 different cases. So he threw the ball to her, she threw the ball to him. Now, we learned them, and we have to say them properly. But unlike German, where you can now say, he threw the ball to her threw the ball to he, you still won't get them mixed around. Like, you'll know she is the one that's throwing the ball. So you can say that at the end. So, her threw the ball to she.
To he.
Let's
Well,
say
from-
it's 2 girls. It's her threw the ball to she.
All right, it's switching
You
it
know
up
that
on
the
me.
she one threw the ball to something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, from my wasted 4 years learning German.
Oh, yes, you know
There's
it.
actually,
It's 4 cases.
if you say, my name is blah blah, I am this year, I am 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's different for a male and a female, even though it's the exact same thing.
Oh, yes,
To say,
yes.
hi, my name is, I am blah blah years
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
it's different for male and female.
It's everywhere, yeah. And that's one of the things with, I guess, the AIs were a bit ticked off, is like, why is there all this fluff?
Well, I'd really love to know if they experienced some kind of negative emotion towards English
and-
before developing the new hyperlanguage. Right.
That's another emotion.
Were they like, man, this is
sucks.
crap.
This is crap.
Let's get something better, and it all happened bang.
Well, what about
Or
so
you know,
Yeah, you got in English, right? The him and the her and all those cases.
Yeah.
We learn them, but we don't use them because of the French. We have to say it in the right order. So we learn the cases. We put the him and the her and the she and the he in the right places, but it's for nothing.
German
we learn
is,
it
is
for nothing.
the other way
We could have
around.
just said he throws it to she
yeah.
because he's always to be the one throwing. So it doesn't matter if we say him or whatever, or her or she, or it's like it's always going to follow subject, verb, object. Subject is he. He throws she.
Yeah, but it's the other languages. It's done in a different order.
German because they have cases.
Same
And
with
French.
Oh well,
French
a lot of
few,
Latin
French
languages.
not just them.
Italian, Spanish, French all follow the same thing.
Yeah,
where
French has to be. You have to say it in the right order, and they invaded Britain or the.
can we not bring this up?
Don't
You
talk about
have
the
to
war.
Now go subject, verb, object, right? And you're going to speak at the parliament. I love how in French, like because the French came along and they were, upper class, all the upper class words are French words and all the lower class words are German words. So it's like, if you want the upper class, you go to the, let's get something to eat, we'll get some nice cuisine. Or you could just get really cheap stuff at the kitchen. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to go to the bureau. This is the bureau. It's nice. Oh, no, just pop down to the office, mate.
Yeah.
Office. That's the German version. Office or bureau.
It's interesting.
It does sound better.
Yeah. But English has borrowed a lot from different
English is
languages.
just the bastard
I mean,
child of
technically, English is a Germanic language, but
Technically, yeah.
it's borrowed a lot from Latin languages, and
Yeah.
you know, I hate to
sounds
say it,
like
but
a mash
those
of
Latin
everything.
Latin touches have really kind of spiced it up a bit. You know,
Television.
they've they've added Technicolor to what would otherwise be a black and white language.
Yeah.